Mike Greenberg for the best in local sports talk and play-by-play. It's SEMO ESPN.
And now, at last.
Time now for the Kofeld Distributing Redhawks Coaches Show on the SEMO ESPN Radio Sports Network.
I have more to tell you.
The Southeast Coaches Show airs every Tuesday at noon on ESPN 92.9 FM and 1220 AM. Live from Wings Etc. in Cape and Jackson. This is your chance to delve deep into the Redhawks football season with head coach Tom Matukewicz.
Now, ladies and gentlemen,
Let's go live to Wings Etc.
let's go!
Right here on the Kofeld Distributing Coaches Show on SEMO ESPN.
And we welcome you in another edition of the Redhawks Coaches Show, the Kofeld Distributing Redhawks Coaches Show with Coach Tuke. We are at Wings Etc. in Cape Girardeau. Still seats. You can stop by and enjoy lunch with us and with Coach Tuke. They have their award-winning jumbo wings. Dine in or carry out if you're in a hurry, and it's a lot more than just wings. Here at Wings Etc., they have a full menu featuring freshly made burgers, wraps, subs. They have quesadillas, entree salads, smoked ribs as well. And their appetizer lineup is absolutely awesome, including their ultimate nachos, their spicy deep-fried pickle spears. And as soon as you walk in, you can't help but notice all of the high-def televisions, and they're tuned in to the best sports programming, including the NFL Ticket. Coach Tom Matukewicz is here as the Redhawks embark on homecoming week. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing well. Just knocked out 10 wings, and so it's going to be a good day.
And we don't want people to forget they do have their 59-cent wings on Monday, so keep that in mind. And
have you done the spicy pickle spear?
No, I don't do spicy.
Yeah, same here. Yeah. If it says spicy, I just move on.
Yeah, it's got to say mild, and then I'm all about it if it's mild. Now with 10 wings, what kind of time frame are we looking at? How long does it take you to put away 10 wings?
About 8 minutes.
Okay, so that's less than a minute per wing.
Yeah, pretty efficient.
That's not bad at all. You're getting set for homecoming week. Homecoming is a different week. I know each game has its own storyline. You try to keep everybody in the same rhythm. You want them to have a routine every week. Homecoming's a little bit different, though, isn't it?
It really is. It's a good different, though. You got a lot of people coming back to campus, and for a lot of people, it's their first look at their team and those type of things. And I'm glad we're playing who we're playing for homecoming. Maybe give us a little more extra pep because I think we'll need it. And, it's just going to be a great weather-wise, and you got a top 15 team. I mean, why wouldn't you be excited?
Well, a lot of times teams like to schedule somebody that may not be nationally ranked and a 21-time OVC champion like Eastern Kentucky. They might want to have a little better shot at that homecoming game, but that's not your thought process.
Well, I didn't schedule it. We'd be playing Cape Central if it was up to me. But like I said, though, I am glad it's a big game. I'm glad that we have that kind of environment, and that's what this region and university provides is entertainment and, a great football team coming in, lots of NFL type players on their roster, top 15. They almost beat an SEC team. And, we're a up and down team, but we've shown to be able to play with, people and so it should be a great environment.
So you go to Eastern Illinois, a team that's won 7 OVC titles since 2001. They won 2 of the last 3 championships. And for the second time this season in a road game, you have a ball in the end zone that falls incomplete, and both times it would have won the football game. At Indiana State, a pass to Paul McRoberts just a little bit high, and then you had a Hail Mary there at the end of the Eastern Illinois game. That's really close. That's 1 1-point loss and 2 5-point losses to Shorter and Eastern Illinois. You've been right there at the very end.
Yeah, and that's what I told the team. I felt like we just ran out of time. But now that you get done with the game, you really evaluate where we're at. The word is we just don't have the kind of consistency that you need. You can't have a bad first quarter and beat a good team. And what I told them was when I first got here, that my main focus was to get you to play hard and to buy in. that's been done and is consistently done, but playing hard is no longer good enough. Playing hard will allow us to step up and maybe beat a Murray. But if we just play hard, we're not going to beat Eastern Kentucky. We have to play better. And so where we're lacking is consistency, and that comes down to a lack of focus. We had several mistakes, and when a player comes off the field and you say, hey, why didn't you do this? Yeah, I know I should have done that. So it wasn't the fact that they didn't know what to do. It's in they didn't have the kind of focus you need in the moment to perform. And so that's our message all week long is just to try and play with more consistency. Now, how do you do that? You got to have better focus throughout the week. And then once you get in those critical situations, because we had several critical situations that we busted on some things, and so that's what we're going to work on this week.
We kind of said it at the time. They have a backup tight end named Addison Bounds. He had 3 catches in the previous game. Those were his only 3 catches of the season. He got loose for an 11-yard touchdown reception, and then he got loose for a 65-yard reception. We said it at the time. It's got to be frustrating for you as a coach on the sideline knowing that you're scheming things up and then guys don't execute the schemes that you put up, because obviously when a guy gets that wide open, there's a breakdown somewhere. And as a coach and the coaching staff on the sideline, that's got to be frustrating because you're dealing with 18, 19, 20-year-old guys.
Yeah, it really is. And we had 7 plays that were over 20 yards on our defense, and that comes down. Sometimes it's tackling, but that wasn't our case. It was just missed assignments. And, every coverage starts with getting everybody covered. I mean, that's pretty much day one stuff. But, a lot of times we don't have 2 on them. So if the one guy doesn't cover him, that's a problem. And we had, we got quite a few newcomers and just made some mistakes. But I do think they'll learn from them and won't repeat them.
What was very impressive about your team, normally you go on the road, you play a nationally ranked team, and Eastern Illinois was nationally ranked in the preseason poll. Yeah. I mean, they're a good football team. That's a caliber of talent that they have. 2 of the 3 last OVC titles, but they got off to a slow start against a good Western Illinois team. They had to play a money game, lost an overtime game to a top 5 program in Illinois State. So the talent is there. Yeah. You go into the halftime locker room down 13-7, but you were outgained 209-76, and to be that lopsided in terms of total yards and only be down by 6 points on the road at halftime, you had to feel like you were in the football game.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We come in and we dodged a bullet because, it was 10-0 and ended up 13-0. It could have ended up a lot worse. And so, offensively, we just didn't start well. And defensively gave up a couple plays, and it's just different. It's not that we're always a slow starter. We come out of Illinois State on fire, or Indiana State come out on fire, and then don't have a great third quarter. So it's just, we're up and down, and, you're dealing with 17, 18, 19-year-olds. I don't know if you're around those guys much, but they're not exactly, I would say, consistent. And so that's our challenge. That's where we can have the most growth as a team is can we put together 4 consistent quarters?
Now you look at the way that they started the football game defensively. What they were able to do was take the running game away from you early, and I know they were doing some different things, some things that really they hadn't done on video prior to the game. They saw the game that Tremaine McCullough had, and they came out, and their run defense, which had been a little shaky early, but again against a tough schedule, well, they really, locked things down in the first half.
They really did. They had some run game blitz stuff that they had us dialed in on, which was effective. But more than anything, we lost the battle at the line of scrimmage. They controlled the line of scrimmage. They controlled our players. Our players didn't control them, and so it made it really tough. And Tremaine got frustrated, because he had been having a lot of success. So he pressed on some plays and tried to do too much and ended up losing some yards. And so it was just a very good teachable moment. And then, half we were able to adjust, and we kind of got some things going in that second half.
A little bit later on in the show, we'll talk with Redhawks punter Alex Knight, who had another marvelous game, averaged almost 49 yards per punt. He had a 65-yarder. I thought it was interesting. Their punter is a freshman and has struggled. He struggled in the game against you. He kicked a couple of balls into the end zone. It wasn't close to angling them out of bounds. And he wins the specialist of the week in the OVC, which I thought was ironic. He had one good punt in the game, and it was his final punt, which pinned you deep there. But Alex Knight, who we will talk to in a little bit, he is having a remarkable season for you, the number one punter in the Ohio Valley Conference.
Yeah, and he's as solid as they come. He's got great parents. He's out of one of the nation's best programs in all the country. Is St. Thomas Aquinas down there in South Florida. And, he's got a big-time leg. And, Coach Martin has done a good job of, mixing it up where we're kicking it. So we're getting a lot of balls go on the ground, and we'll get some roll off of it too. So it's a combination of him doing a great job, and I think Coach Martin and the other guys on punt, schematically putting them in good situations. And
for the most part, he was able to keep the ball away from Shepard Little. Yeah. I mean, that's an All-American guy, and he's a guy that can break one at any time. Now, he did break one, but boy, on that particular play, I think he got about 35 yards. You had a guy there on his waist, and he's a big, strong guy, and he was able to break free, or he would not have had, much of a return day.
Yeah, I mean, we had him dialed in, and that was what was disappointing because we had him wrapped up, and we talked a lot about the fact that he has tree trunks for legs. Like, he's going to be able to run through. You try to tackle him high, he's so strong, he's just going to shake you off, and that's kind of what he did. But for the most part, we were able to contain him.
So it's a 13-7 game at halftime, and that's because with about 90 seconds to play in the first half, Josh Kinzer intercepts the ball on a deflection. It was a pass thrown behind a receiver. He got a hand on it, tipped it up in the air. Josh Kinzer takes it all the way into the end zone. You get a pick six right before halftime. And despite trailing by 6, you had some momentum there at the break.
Oh, really did. And, Josh is a guy that's made a lot of plays. He doesn't play a lot, but when he's in, he's very productive. He's got great ball skills and gave us that energy that we really needed, or maybe just some belief, because things weren't going so good, and gave us a good play. And so coming in to half, kind of gave you that energy.
What was your message to your team at halftime? Because that's when you make adjustments, and I'm sure you made some adjustments in what you wanted to do, seeing that defensively they were throwing some schemes at you that were a little different.
Yeah, I think, we had to figure out how to run the ball, stop taking so many losses, which was getting us in third and long yardage situations. And so the offense went to work on that. Defensively, we just didn't play great in some situations, but really had a good first half because our offense played so bad that they put him in some really tough situations. Dante threw a pick, and we 3-and-out the offense right after that. We talk a lot about sudden change and those type of things. So my message with defense was, good job, because that could have been a 28-point half for them. And so you did a good job of stopping them as good as you can, and got to come out second half. We got to get back in this one first down at a time.
I think that says a lot about the personnel you've got on defense, because we said it at the time after the interception, for your defense to go out there and force them to punt after just 3 plays. I mean, that really kept you in the football game, and the defense really, it's about picking each other up as a teammate, and the defense picked it up.
And we talk a lot about a process-driven program, not a result. If you're down by 20, do you pick it up, or up by 20? Like, that should have nothing to do with it. If the offense turns it over, that should have nothing to do with you playing. And for the most part, our team, has the same intensity and attitude about themselves, and so. I think, and that's hard to do, so I'm proud of that.
That's Coach Tom Matukewicz. We're at Wings, etc. It is the Coalfeld Distributing Redhawks Coaches Show. We're at Wings every Tuesday from noon until 1. So at halftime, you're only down by 6 points. Then they put together a 7-play, 69-yard drive. And then the coverage issue, Bounds gets loose for a touchdown. Then it's a short drive. He gets a 65-yard touchdown, getting behind the entire defense. Then all of a sudden you look up, you're down by 20 points. It's 27-7. What's your message then?
Well, it was the same. I mean, at 2 or 3 points in the game, a normal team would just man, we just give up, but just kept coming. We just kept coaching them and ask them where their eyes are at, what they got to do. And hey, when you get out there, you got to do this and that. And so we just kept coming, kept coaching, and kept playing.
And then right after the blown coverage, they're up by 20 points. Then Dante Vanoven directs a 5-play, 69-yard drive that was capped by a terrific little pass to Lewis Washington out of the backfield, and he got in the right corner of the end zone. A really athletic play for a big guy, diving for the pylon with the football, and all of a sudden you got some momentum. You're getting right back in the football game.
Yeah, that's exactly what we needed. Our defense needed our offense to put a drive together. They did. Lewis is a guy that doesn't get a lot of accolades, but, man, he adds a lot of value to our program.
10 plays, 48 yards later after you get the football back, Dante Vanoven from the 1-yard line. You call a quarterback sneak there, and it looked like as you're getting ready for the play, Tremaine McCullough had to grab him and tell him, hey, get up under center for this particular play. That's what it looked like, and then he snuck it in for the touchdown there. But you got down to the 1-yard line, and oftentimes teams have to settle for field goals when they get down near the goal line, and that's not what happened with your football team.
Yeah, it was inches, and you should be able to sneak that and move people out of there for that amount of yards. And we should have been able to do that, and we did it. That was good to see.
Then they respond with Devin Church catching a 6-yard touchdown pass. That makes it 33-21. And then Paul McRoberts gets heavily involved on the next drive. You go 64 yards in 7 plays. McRoberts catches a touchdown pass from Dante Vanoven, and what a catch it was. I mean, that was one of those where, hey, the defensive back is about 5'11". Our guy's 6'3" with hops and long arms. We're going to throw it up and see if our guy can make a play. And, man, did he ever make a play.
Yeah, and what a ball. If you throw it low, then it doesn't matter that he's 6'3". So he threw a really good ball, Dante did, and Paul went up and grabbed it. And, just a highlight reel in the red zone. That's just a matchup issue for most teams.
So Dante finishes 20 for 32, 217 yards. 2 touchdown passes, and was only sacked 1 time. That mobility gives you the opportunity really for him to try and get away from trouble, because the team you're playing this week leads the OVC with 17 sacks.
Yeah, and we need that in a quarterback. We recruit that in a quarterback, that escapability, that mobile athlete. And Dante's, sometimes is at his best when he's running around there. I think, as he continues to grow and develop into an all-conference type quarterback, he's got to be able to set in the pocket, know when he's got to get out of there, or just step up a little bit, stay in that read progression and wait just a little longer for that kid to come open and then pull the trigger.
And he ran the ball 9 times for 55 yards, including the touchdown. But there were times when you called his number to run the football, and there were other times where there was nothing there, and he made something out of nothing.
Exactly, and those are all real critical yards. A lot of those were on third downs that he was able to move the chains on.
And I thought it was good for your offensive coordinator, Sherrod Poteet. At some point you saw, okay, the Tremaine McCullough thing is not working right now in terms of handing the football off, but he's a playmaker. We got to find ways to get him involved, and so he started bringing him out of the backfield. He caught 4 passes in the football game.
Yeah, he's the guy that can do something with the ball in his hands, and so we got to figure out ways to get him the ball. And Coach Poe did a great job of ad-libbing that and getting the ball out in the perimeter, throwing it.
And 9 more catches for Paul McRoberts. He goes over 2,000 receiving yards. Only 4 players in school history have done that. 132 yards receiving for McRoberts, another touchdown. He is now 1 away from tying Willie Ponder's record, and he's over 2,000 yards. What a career, but what a season he's putting together. That's back-to-back 100-yard receiving games for Paul.
Yeah, he's done a good job, and a lot of things have gone well to be able to get him in those opportunities, and he continues to stay healthy and has a great attitude. He comes to work every day. He'll tell you that his blocks on kickoff return got better. Just little things like that as a player, you can't have any holes in your game. You got to go and attack all of that stuff. And so we all as coaches and players still have room for improvement, and the good teams will continue to improve.
And some new guys that saw their first starts for you. One of them has seen a lot of time but hadn't started, and that's Darius Darden-Box. He had 3 catches for you, and that is a very versatile, athletic receiver.
Yeah, he was a guy that had a big play on the reverse, about 25 yards. He was able to catch the ball and do some things, and he's all over the field on special teams too. He's kind of like a Lewis Washington. You don't talk about him because he's not just getting the ball that many times, but when he touches it and the value he adds on special teams is just really good.
And now an increased role for him with the injury to Adrian Davis, an increased role for Tyler McNamore, who got his first start of the season and picked up his second reception. He's caught a ball the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, he's a guy that continued to improve, and we need him to continue to improve and pick up that slack for Adrian.
Now, on the defensive side, Stephon Williams got an opportunity to see his first start as a freshman, and I know if you had your choice, you probably wouldn't play many true freshmen, and nothing against anyone individually, personally, but Stephon Williams leading you in tackles with 11. He had a big day on defense.
Yeah, I mean, that's good and bad, but he's a guy that, got here in June. He's worked hard. We knew he was a really good player, and just continued to coach him. And, he finally put enough good practice film out there. We felt like he deserved that starting spot. And he certainly had some mistakes. One of those tight ends was his. And but when you look at the overall value he added, man, he did a really good job. And he's going to get another start this weekend.
You talk about teachable moments. Sometimes, unfortunately, they come in negative circumstances, like if you're supposed to be on a guy, but right at that time, that's a teachable moment or a coaching moment for you when a guy comes to the sideline, right?
Yeah, and, he got lit up pretty good on the sideline, and no one hurt more than him, but that is exactly what you're talking about. Like that's what happens, and you got to be able to flush it and move on, and it didn't affect him. So that says a lot about him.
All right, to switch gears just a little bit here, the month of October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and over the last few weeks, you have had a bidding process for a pink jersey that you're going to wear for the October 31st game at home against Tennessee Tech. The bidding is now closed, but all of the money, as you team with St. Francis Medical Center for Cape Up Pink, or Pink Up Cape would be the correct way to say it in English. You guys raised a lot of money, and I guess it's been a success. They closed the bidding yesterday.
Yeah, every jersey was sold, and so I think financially people feel really good about what was raised, and now that second part of we want to connect with our team and these people that have stepped up and bought these jerseys and make that moment October 31st, that game, and make that moment special so that these kids never forget meeting the family that, is the name on the back of your jersey you went to go play in their honor. And so that's going to be just a special time, really looking forward to. And obviously, hopefully, we're making a big difference in our community in the fact that we can provide some of these testing that these women need for early detection. And obviously, we're trying to do our part and raise awareness just like everybody else.
So these guys will be wearing the pink jerseys during the game. Yep. And they get an opportunity, because there'll be a name on the back of the jersey. They'll get an opportunity to meet the family, right?
Yep. And so before the game, in their locker, there'll be a card. And in the card, it'll explain the person on your back. You'll go play in their honor. And then after the game, these families will meet them. They'll take their jersey off, and there'll be an opportunity to share and to meet the family that, you're playing in their honor. And so, man, that gives me goosebumps just talking about, like, how could you be the same person after going through something like that? And that's with this terrible disease, but we're not going to let it defeat us, and there's going to be a lot of positive, a lot of good come from this process.
One other thing with Eastern Kentucky coming in here, they had a player that was killed recently, September 27th, a redshirt freshman defensive lineman named Joey Kramer, and solidarity with the whole conference. You're going to be wearing a helmet sticker in honor of this young man, right?
Well, we wore it in Murray.
Okay, you wore it in the Murray game.
In the Murray game, yeah. So that was the week that it had happened. And so, I don't even know how it got in the media. We didn't do that to get in the media. We did that so that these kids understand just, we don't know what tomorrow holds. And, in my opinion, it's just a good exercise to go through, take a moment, and to understand this guy's just like you guys. And he doesn't have the opportunity to play this game. And so that's why we did it. And I couldn't imagine, coaching a team through that. I've had things happen on a team, but I haven't buried a player either, though.
I was going to say, you've never had to deal with anything like that. It's got to be something that you really can't. You have no idea how to plan for something like that. And if you're the head coach, even more so in a situation like that, your players are looking to you for leadership. So that's got to be a tough thing for Coach Hood. Yeah,
it really is. And you don't go to school to be a coach. There is no coaching degree, and so also you get to be a head coach, not because of how you handle your team. It's because of the X and O's and the schematics and stuff. But once you're now sitting in this chair, some guy come to my office and, it's hard. The very first game I've ever coached here was on a Thursday night. Okay, I get a phone call Wednesday night. One of the players tried to commit suicide. I mean, it just, you have 105 guys that are trying to figure life out. They're 18, 19 years old, just like, when we were that age. And a lot of times they don't have families to talk to, and you get phone calls and you get questions about life and everything. And, you're not always going to be right. Try to do the best you can, but it is our responsibility to try to help that kid.
We'll talk more about Eastern Kentucky coming up after we talk with Alex Knight. But tell us a little bit about Alex Knight. Obviously, he's having a tremendous season, an all-conference season. You can make an argument he probably should have been all-conference last year, but he's certainly the top punter in the OVC headed into this game against Eastern Kentucky.
Well, just special teams alone, what other play in football can you guarantee 40 yards? I mean, you can't diagram a play and say, hey, I'm going to consistently gain 40 yards. And so that's why we talk about if you think you're a good player for us and you're not starting on punt, you're not. All of our, punt team gets the first pick of the roster, and just to be able to flip a field, because obviously if you're you're kicking, you're gaining 30 yards and the other team gains 40, that's a first down every time you trade punts. And so we take that very, very seriously.
And in Alex Knight's case, it's not even just about 40 yards. In his case, it's about 46 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to put him, top probably 15. If he stays at 46 yards per punt throughout the entire season, that's probably going to put him top 15 in the country.
Yeah, as he should. And even some of those plays we ask him to pooch it and get it down there, and he does a great job with that. He let one slip on Saturday. He kicked it through the end zone, but he does a good job of just ball placement too, not just banging the punt. And he's just a junior, and so really looking forward to him, continue to grow.
All right, you got any good Alex Knight stories before we bring him in?
Well, one thing I always like doing is I got the bullhorn when he's punting, and I just yell at him. Makes me feel better. And so he's like, how they get those rag dolls you just stick pins in.
Yeah.
He's kind of that for me. Anytime I'm having a bad day, I could just start yelling at Alex because I know he could take it.
Oh, voodoo doll. That's
yeah.
And one thing to keep in mind, they've got a guy named Stanley Absanon. Not only is he a kick and punt returner, he's a defensive back, but he has 14 career block kicks. The all-time record NCAA is 17. You got a guy closing in as one of the greatest kick blockers in FCS history. He'll be at Houck Stadium on Saturday.
Yeah, that guy affects the game. I mean, he's in the all-purpose yards. I think he's number 8 in the whole conference. He doesn't even play offense.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the kind of special guy he is. He's got a lot of wiggle, good ball skills. He's not a little guy. He can break arm tackles and things like that. And so, we got to have a great night. A great day by Alex.
And they've got a 6'6" receiver named Devin Borders 2 years ago. He blocked 5 kicks. So, I mean, that has been a specialty of Eastern Kentucky.
Yeah, their head coach, Dean Hood, is a really good coach. He takes his special teams very serious. And so he puts those guys in great positions. We got a punt block last year.
And they lead the league in kickoff returns. Now, you've been good defending kickoff returns, but they're number 1 in the league, so that can flip field position when you're really good at returning kicks.
Yeah, their returner is a factor in this game, and so we got to do a good job. Alex is only 1 of 11 So these other 10 dudes better do a good job also.
You know, we don't talk much about the long snapper, Wade Wright, but nobody notices the long snapper until the snap goes awry. There haven't been many snaps go awry for Wade Wright. That helps a punter and a kicker out.
Yeah, he's extremely consistent. You know, he's on, I think, the top 5 bad body teams. And so everybody notices him when he gets off the bus. But I tell you what, he does a great job, and he's just really, really consistent. Short snapping too. You know, just real glad we have it on the team. We got to do a good job of making sure we got a plan for him next year because he'll be gone.
All right, I was stationed in the Navy for 4 years down in Key West, Florida. That's not a long way from Boca Raton and St. Thomas Aquinas. You got to get a pipeline going with that school. I mean, the more players you can get from that school, the better your program's going to be, and the better your program's going to be if you can kind of blanket the state of Florida. A lot of talent down there.
Yeah, it really is. And Alex is who Alex is because of his parents. If you met his parents, you'd know why he's such a good kid. And he'll tell you this. He's blessed to have his 2 parents. They come to games all the time and care a lot about him. So he's one blessed individual.
All right, we'll talk with the top punter in the OVC. Alex Knight will join us after this timeout. It is the Coalfeld Distributing Redhawks Coaches Show at Wings, etc. Alex Knight joins us after this on the SEMO ESPN Sports Radio Network.
Conversation has been growing about Wings, etc. See, Wings, etc. has those awards.
Welcome back to Wings, etc. It is the Coalfeld Distributing Redhawks Coaches Show with Coach Tuke. Wings, etc., where we invite you to join us for lunch. We're here every Tuesday from noon until 1. They have a terrific laid-back atmosphere here, great food, friendly service, and their half-pound lunch specials start at just $6.49. They've got food and drink specials throughout the week, including their 59-cent wings on Monday. And parents, they've got a great kids menu. They have family-friendly video games in the dining room, and they're open 7 days a week and late on the weekends because the games go late. And Joe Hobbs locally owned and operated, and both in Cape and Jackson. It is Wings, etc. Proud to host the Coalfeld Distributing Redhawks Coaches Show with Coach Tuke. Let's talk it over with Redhawks punter Alex Knight. Welcome to the show. Now, you kind of got here late, so I saw they just delivered your food. You haven't had time to get anything for lunch yet, right?
Not yet. Just got out of class, and I'm just excited to be here.
All right. What class did you have?
Communications.
Communications. There we
Yes.
go. So, you got prepped. Before you put the headset on, what's your major?
Right now, just general studies, but I'm seeing what I want to do because my dad's into real estate, and I really like that, so I'm interested in getting my real estate license after I graduate. So,
Well, there's a lot of real estate down in Florida. You're from Boca Raton. Tell us about growing up there.
well, like Coach Tuke said, I was very blessed to come from a two-parent home, and they really helped me out getting through all the stuff, especially transferring from St. Andrews, St. Thomas, going down to Fort Lauderdale was a totally different change for me because the culture and the football was just from here to there. It was ridiculous how good with Coach Smith and Coach Cotulo showing me all this stuff. They really prepped me for college, so I'm very excited I went there.
All right. Tell us what kind of a program, because they're very successful. I know you won a state championship in 2012 at St. Thomas Aquinas. Tell us about that place. It's a football factory down there, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I remember my first ESPN game. It was against De La Salle my sophomore year. We were waiting before we go out for halftime, and Michael Irvin walked in and came and talked to us to get us before the game, and it was wow, that's Michael Irvin. Michael Irvin, the Hall of Famer from Dallas Cowboys, coming and talk to us for the game. It was unbelievable, getting us all pumped up for the game, and we came out a big victory that night.
All right. So you grew up a Dolphins fan then?
Yes, I am.
All right. You like the Hurricanes, the Knowles, or the Gators?
It's all about the U, baby.
All right. So it's Miami. So you're close. You're closer. And I said I was stationed in the Navy down in Key West, Florida for 4 years. Have you been down to Key West?
Yes, I've been down to Key West a couple times. Me and my dad went fishing down there. It was pretty fun, but that only when I was 8, so it was a long time ago.
But there's a lot of good fishing down in the Florida Keys,
Yes,
right?
there is. Yes, there is. Very
Hey.
good tuna fishing down there.
And you talk about real estate. That is expensive real estate down in the Florida Keys.
Yes, it is. That's why you have to know what you're doing down there to buy, know when to buy, know when to sell.
All right. There are a lot of alligators in Florida. I know when we would travel, my grandmother used to live in South Fort Myers, so I would head up, and you'd cut over through the Everglades, and about every 10 miles, you see a big sign, swamp buggy rides, airboat rides, come see the gators. That's a big industry down there.
Yeah, but I'm more from the east side by the beach. I'm closer, so I really don't see that as much. But a lot of my friends from Fort Lauderdale live in Weston and Davie out there, and they're really into that stuff, like hunting gators and all that stuff.
All right. Now, your brother, Tyler, played lacrosse at the University of Massachusetts Amherst. Did you play some lacrosse growing up yourself?
Yeah, I played a little bit just because my brother was into it. I didn't really like it that much. It was just something to do other than football because I didn't know for sure if I wanted to play college football yet until my senior year. So, but he was unbelievable. He was an All-American. He won state 5 years in a row because he started on varsity 8th grade, 9th, 10th, and all the way to 12th. He was All-American his senior year, went to UMass, and had a great career.
Well, talk about the times. Now, you could go out in the backyard or in the back driveway and play a little one-on-one in basketball. You can't really – can you play one-on-one in lacrosse?
Yeah, you kind of. We had a net in the backyard, but I never liked playing against my brother because he's 6'4" and really big, and every time he shot, he'd hit me because I had to play goalie, and I always get bruises, and lacrosse ball's hard. It's not like a football where it's a little squishy. It's hard. So when you get hit by it, you get a big bruise, every time.
A bruised up Alex Knight, our guest here on the Redhawks Coaches Show. Now, you did some kicking in high school as well, right? Punting and kicking?
No, I did not punt until I came to college. I only kicked from freshman year. I started kicking to my senior year at St. Thomas, and I didn't learn how to punt really until I got here. When Coach Tuke came in, he's like, Alex, we need you to punt. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it. And Crum was the kicker, and he was doing unbelievable. He still is. And so when I learned how to punt, Coach Tuke's like, you got to do it. You got to do this, got to do this. And he always get on me every single day and yelling at me and screaming at me, hitting me with a piece of paper, come on, focus, focus, focus. Yeah, so it helped me a lot, though.
Watching you punt, and SEMO's had some good punters over the years. David Simonoff was an All-American here. I mean, they've a couple of All-American punters over the years at Southeast. Your ball, the height on the ball and the way that it turns over for a spiral, how good does that feel? You hear baseball players say when they hit it on the sweet spot and it's a home run, it's the best feeling in the world. How good does it feel when you hit one that is going to be 60 plus?
Well, it feels really good, one, because if it's good ball placement, I'm not going to get yelled at. And two, if the returner calls for a fair catch, I know I did my job to help my teammates out.
And sometimes when you've got a leg as strong as yours, you got to be careful sometimes of out-kicking your coverage. Explain to people what it means to out-kick your coverage.
Well, like 40 yards is what we're supposed to net every single time. And if I out-kick against Mizzou, I hit like a 60-yard punt, and I way out-kicked my coverage because the returner has a lot more room to like move around in open field, because when you kick it 40 yards and high every single time, your returners have enough time to get down there. He'll call a fair catch or make the tackle. But if you give him like 10 to 15 yards to spare, especially against a team like Mizzou, he's going to have time to run. That's why that 35-yard return against Mizzou happened, because I out-kicked the coverage.
Well, you had a good punting day on Saturday against Eastern Illinois. I know anytime that the ball leaks into the end zone, I know you get disappointed. You did have a 65-yard punt. What is the longest punt that you can remember maybe in practice? We know, a 65-yarder is your long for the Redhawks, but how about in practice? What's the longest punt?
I think my longest punt at practice was during punt block. There's a little wind, so I can't take all the credit for it, and it was like 72-yard punt, and it was on the top field during punt block.
Wow! So you came here as a kicker. Now, do you and McCrum, do you guys get competitive in practice? Do you put it up on the tee and see who can kick the longest field goals?
No, not at all. McCrum's a way better kicker than I am. Like, his legs way stronger. I like to mess around a little bit, but I'm done with kicking. I'm over it. I'm excited to punt.
All right. Is this something that you would like to see if you could get a sniff maybe at the next level, or is it real estate only once your Red Hawk days are over?
I definitely want to try my best to see if I can make it to the NFL, because it's always a dream. Everyone's dream is college football players to make it to the next level. So hopefully if I keep doing what I'm doing, have a good year, get a lot more consistent, like Coach Chuke's saying, and I feel like I can do it.
Well, one thing, you don't have to worry about seeing if you can find an NFL scout to come to your practice. They're there every practice watching Paul. Does that ever enter into your mind, man, I got to focus. This NFL scout may see me kick a 73-yarder?
Not really, because he's here for Paul. Like, NFL coaches are like very strict on their schedule, and I know if I do whatever I need to do, and Coach Chuke will help me out get to where I need to be.
All right, let's talk about this Eastern Kentucky game coming up. This is a big football game, and the opposing punter for Eastern Kentucky is a guy right on your heels. You're one, he's two in the OVC and punting.
Yeah, he had a couple great games. I saw him. He had one game. He averaged like 50 yards, and that's really good. But I'm excited because then it's more competition for me, and I love that.
All right, in terms of 50-plus yard punts, I want to make sure I get it right. Already 10 over 50 yards. You've got 2 65-yard punts. So kicking the ball over 50 yards. I know you say, hey, it's got to be 40, but if you can consistently be kicking balls about 50 yards, you got to feel like you're doing your job.
Yeah, especially if I'm putting a lot of hang time on. If I'm kicking it 50-plus and they're fair catching it, I know Coach Chuke will be happy, and I'll get my job done. Okay,
we talked about lacrosse. Did you play any other sports in Florida growing up?
Yes, I actually never played soccer, so that's kind of a shocker for a lot of people, kind of a kicker. But I played baseball. I was a lefty pitcher in baseball, and I like that a lot. I don't know, maybe I should have stuck with it, but who knows?
Are you a Marlins fan?
Yeah, kind of. They're all right. They never really win, though. So,
well, you've been here for a while. This is a pretty hot Cardinal area. You follow the Cardinals at all?
Yes, I just been watching it because the Cardinals and Cubs playing because the playoffs. So it's exciting to watch that.
How much do you have to hear Slaney talking about the Cubs?
All the time, every day of the week, 24/7. He's like, let's see those Cubs go. Come on, Cubs. All the time.
Right, he couldn't have been a happy camper the other night. Friday night, they lose, so he's going into the Eastern Illinois game probably played a little angry last week.
Yeah, probably, but Sean Slaney, he's always angry.
All right, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts moving forward here? Homecoming, you gonna have some family in town?
Yeah, both my parents. I'm blessed for them coming up again. They've been coming up so much this year, and I just can't wait to see them.
All right, that's going to be at 1:00. On Saturday against Eastern Kentucky. Boy, it'd be a nice win. There were a couple of ranked teams that came in here last year and left with L's. Southeastern Louisiana and, ironically enough, on homecoming, 20th ranked Tennessee State bit the dust. A chance for you guys to put another brick in the brickyard, right?
Yes, all I think is we get the job done. Coach says, do your job, and work on hard focus this week. And hard focus is like not knowing your plays and assignment and then doing them on the field in the moment. If we play in the moment this week, I really believe we can beat them.
All right, that's Alex Knight. Are you on Twitter?
Yes, I am.
All right, give us your Twitter address so we can get you to 1 or 2 followers here.
It's A Night Kick at just A Night Kick.
A Night Kick,
That's it.
AKNIGHT Kick.
Yep.
All right, we'll be looking for you on Twitter, Alex.
Thank
Thanks
you
so
very
much.
much for
Good
having
luck
me.
the rest of the year.
Thank you for having me.
Alex Knight, the Redhawks punter, top punter in the Ohio Valley Conference. We're back with Coach Tuke to talk about the Eastern Kentucky Colonels and the big homecoming game coming up on Saturday. After this, it's the Coalfeld Distributing Redhawks Coaches Show at Wings, etc. on SEMO ESPN.
That's it.
Welcome back to Wings, etc. in Cape Girardeau, the Coalfeld Distributing Redhawks Coaches Show with Coach Tuke. We thank Alex Knight for joining us. Boy, he's a likable young man, isn't he?
He is. I'm just a little concerned, though. I don't feel like he's got enough swag. I mean, maybe we can ask the females in the room, but, like, you know, he doesn't have long hair. He's got no tattoos, no earrings. He's just, you know, he's kind of like an old guy or something.
He's
got to get him.
He's taking phone calls now, so he must be getting.
Maybe someone saw him, hit him up on Twitter. Maybe he can get a date now. I don't know.
Yeah, well, we again, it's A Night Kick. If you want to follow Alex on Twitter, AKNIGHT Kick.
What do you think, Alex? What you give him good?
He's asking one of the waitresses here.
I'm telling you, you gotta bring it now. You gotta have some swag about yourself.
See, now he's interested in the lunch. He had to sit here the whole time. They delivered his lunch while he was up here, and he couldn't get to it. So,
well, the way through a man's heart is through his belly, you know, and so he's just like all the rest of the football players.
So, how about a guy that comes here as a kicker and never kicks?
Yeah,
and hadn't punted. Even for a state championship team down in Florida, and now he's a guy who's averaging 46 yards per punt. That's pretty good transition.
Yeah, I about spilled my tea when he said that. I had no idea. He was a punter when I got here, and got a lot better. But says a lot about him.
All right, let's talk about Eastern Kentucky. They're coming off a game in which they threw for 382 yards. That hasn't been their forte, passing the ball. It's been establishing the run. They've got an All-American running back in Deshaun Mobley, but they threw for 382 yards. That was the most passing yards in a game in 10 years. They beat Tennessee Tech 48-17, and they had over 480 yards of offense at halftime in this football game.
Yeah, it was one of those crazy. They just had about 9 minutes in that second quarter where it went really bad for Tennessee Tech, and Tennessee Tech lost their quarterback, and so they kind of gave up some stuff there. And Eastern Kentucky's just doesn't have a lot of weaknesses. They got good players, good scheme. Statistically, they're 1-2 in about every category, and so we're going to need to play lights out.
Scoring offense, they're second only to Jacksonville State, the number one team in the nation. They're averaging 36 points of offense. They are holding opposing teams to only 101 yards rushing, so they're the number 2 rushing defense. So you're going to see another tough team against the run, and it'll be a challenge for you to get that running game going again. But, you have been able to run against most everybody on your schedule this year.
Yeah, it'll be no different. I mean, we go in a game and we're going to try and throw it 60 times. It'll be bad deal. And so we got to find ways to run it. We got to be creative. One thing is, you have a better idea of what Eastern Kentucky's going to do. And so schematically, hopefully we could put our players in good situations. And we were able to run on them last year, and we were down a lot of players, and we held up okay last year, and so hopefully that's the case this year.
Eastern Kentucky played a game against Kentucky, and that's a money game. They played 2 money games, as a matter of fact. They played at North Carolina State, lost 35-0 week 2. A second money game, October 3rd, at Kentucky. They led the University of Kentucky from the Southeastern Conference by 14 points in the fourth quarter. Their final possession, as we see so often, they got conservative, ran the ball, punted it, and then Kentucky ends up coming down, tying it, and winning it in overtime. But just like Jacksonville State, they were an eyelash from notching a win over a team from the SEC.
Yeah, really outplayed them. And that's a heated rival. They're so close.
Yeah. 27 miles from Richmond to Lexington.
And so that played a lot into it, and that was the week that they had lost one of their players too. So that was just a really emotional game, and tells you a lot about them. I mean, they are the standard, and well, again, just see where we're at as a football program.
They've got a player who was at Ohio State, so that tells you the kind of talent that he has. His name is Noah Spence. He's the left defensive end on this football team. He comes in leading the league and 5th in the nation in sacks per game. I mean, this guy has really been doing a lot of things, forcing fumbles, recovering fumbles, sacking the quarterback. Yeah. This is an elite defensive player in this league.
Elite in all of college football. Like, this guy is as good as it gets. I mean, we got our hands cut out for him. And, some of those guys you can't block, then you need to read them. And he's a great space player because he's so long and so athletic. He can just cause a lot of problems in the backfield. And so, we got to have a good plan for him, and he's going to make his plays, but we can't let him just disrupt everything we got going.
And take over the football game. Now, there are some teams who are good at getting to the quarterback and sacking the quarterback. They lead the league. Some teams are talented enough to do it with a 4-man rush where they don't have to stunt and blitz a lot and send linebackers or defensive backs. Are they one of those teams? They can stick with a 4-man front and still get to the quarterback?
Yep, they'll try that way, and if they need to send 5, they'll send 5. But, generally they start out rushing 4 and let them go to work. And so, we got to stay out of 3rd and long, where now you got some run options or some quick passing game. You don't have to hang on the ball that long. But also in protections, we just got to be smart. We got to put our good players in good situations. We can't just ask that guy to block him by himself on 3rd and 10. We need to do a good job of, either chipping him or spreading out or quick throws, screens, draws, all the things you got to do to a good defensive end.
But sometimes you can take advantage of an over-aggressive defense. Is that one of the things that you're talking about?
Yeah, exactly right, because he's so quick and so fast. You get up the field, creates rushing lanes, to get up in there. And so, no one else has done a good job with it. I mean, there's a reason he's the number one sack leader, and so I'm sure he'll get his, but we can't let that be the difference in the game.
They're pretty experienced and athletic in the defensive secondary. I always look at the defensive secondary to kind of see who Paul McRoberts is likely going to match up with on Saturday.
Yeah, and they got some decent size at corner. They're 5'11", 6 foot. Their safeties are a little smaller, but they've done a good job. They're very athletic, but I think Paul can get his just like any even though there's no 6'3" corners, and
right.
So just as long as they're good balls and he catches the football and, we'll give him time to throw it, I think he'll have another good day.
And a guy that blocks a lot of kicks, Devin Borders, their wide receiver, 6'6". What? You talk about having a mismatch with your wide receiver in Paul McRoberts. Devin Borders, 6'6". That's a tough matchup.
It really is, and he made some plays on us last year. And so we really got our, work cut out for us. But we're going to play aggressive. We're going to get up in there, and we're going to make him do that. And I think that's our kids will feed off that.
Benny Coney, their quarterback, just had his greatest day ever. He threw for 359 yards and 5 touchdowns. This is a guy who started at the University of Cincinnati and transferred and is coming off his best game as a Colonel.
Yeah, they've done a great job with him. He's gotten a lot better. He played a little bit last year. They're number one team in the OVC in turnovers. They've only turned over 3 times. I mean, that is impressive, and they've done a good job with him. He's done a good job, and really did a good job hitting hands against Tennessee Tech. And so it seems like he's kind of hitting stride.
Deshaun Mobley, their All-American running back, has been hampered by a hamstring. So he's missed some time, finally healthy, of course, right before he plays you. So he had his first 100-yard rushing game. What kind of a running back are we going to see when Deshaun Mobley comes in here?
Well, I think you'll see a lot like what you saw at Eastern Illinois. I mean, they're FBS type running backs, very talented, quick, but also can break a lot of tackles. And so we got to do a good job of violent clamp when we tackle and get him down.
All right, you're the only coach in school history that has beaten 2 nationally ranked teams in 1 year. You did that last year with Southeastern Louisiana, and in the homecoming game against Tennessee State, they came in here ranked 20th.
Well,
so
I didn't. Right?
Yeah.
I didn't play.
I don't know, man. I see you running around on that sideline. You got the towel. I don't know that you don't sneak in there once in a while.
Well, I told my wife last night, and I still got it. But the players want it, and so that's a great opportunity for them. They work really hard, and what a stage they're going to have for this weekend.
And we're going to see the U.S. Army skydivers. They are going to parachute in 15 minutes prior to the game, right onto the surface at Houck Stadium. That ought to be fun.
Yeah, it really is, and you just have a tremendous amount of respect for their armed forces, and just very appreciative of Bruce Loy out at the Cape Airport there for making this opportunity come through. And it's a moment guys like Alex Knight will remember, and we're going to get him out there early so they can see him come in. 3
of the top attendance figures ever at Houck Stadium have come on homecoming. Last year, it was the largest crowd of the year, just over 8,000. It'd be nice to pack this baby out Saturday.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity. It's going to be a great day, and what college football is all about. And we'll see you 2 hours before kickoff in the Redhawk Walk.
All right, the Redhawk Walk. Bring the kids. They got the inflatables. We've got live music, and tailgating is getting bigger and bigger. You just want the tailgaters in the stadium by kickoff. That's a big thing.
Yeah, and it's just a great opportunity. These kids work really hard, and I think if you come and show us, whether we win or lose, I think you'll at least be proud of how we go about our business, how hard we play.
What uniforms are we going with on Saturday?
The only home uniforms we got.
Okay.
So we're going to stick with our red tops and black bottoms.
All right. We'll see you on Saturday, Coach. Thanks so much.
Sounds good.
That's Coach Tuke. And we're going to get you back into ESPN radio programming. Don't forget Wings, etc. They're open late on the weekends, and take advantage of all of their specials, Wings, etc. We appreciate them hosting the Redhawks Coaches Show with Coach Tuke. ESPN radio programming coming up. Don't forget at 3 o'clock on SEMO ESPN 92.9. We've got pregame coverage for the Cardinals and the Cubs. Game 4, Cardinals facing elimination. John Lackey on the mound for the Cardinals. Jason Hamill for the Cubs. Again, 3 o'clock broadcast time on SEMO ESPN 92.9 FM. That's going to do it for us at Wings, etc. We say so long, everybody. We'll see you at Houck Stadium Saturday at 1 o'clock for homecoming.
ESPN Radio Sports Network, 92.9 KLSC Malden, 1220 KGIR Cape Girardeau, and 14